Emily Carter had been inside Reed Industries for less than 6 hours when the CEO fired her. "You're done," Daniel Reed said. Emily stared at him across the massive glass conference table. "But I haven't even started." Daniel dropped a folder in front of her. "You've been here long enough." Emily opened it. Inside was a financial report she had been reviewing that morning. She looked at the numbers, then at him. "This report is wrong." Daniel's eyebrows lifted. "Excuse me?" "The revenue projections on page 14. She pointed at the screen. "Someone moved almost $20 million through 3 subsidiary accounts." Daniel leaned back. "You've been an employee for 6 hours, and you're accusing my company of fraud?" "I'm not accusing anyone." She turned the laptop toward him. "I'm telling you that if you approve this acquisition, Reed Industries could lose everything." The room went silent. 2 senior executives exchanged uncomfortable looks. Daniel slowly stood. "Do you know how many people have spent months working on this deal?" "Apparently not enough." His face hardened. "Security." Emily closed the folder. "Before I leave, look at the transfer dates." Daniel didn't answer. She picked up her bag. "And check the company that received the largest payment." She walked toward the door. Daniel called after her. "What's the name?" Emily stopped. "Blackstone Holdings." Then she left. 3 months later, Daniel Reed was staring at the same name. Blackstone Holdings. His chief financial officer stood beside him, pale. $20 million is missing. Daniel looked at the report. "How?" "We don't know." "Who authorized the transfers?" The CFO hesitated. "Your signature is on them." Daniel's face went cold. "I didn't authorize anything." "I know." "Then who did?" "We're still investigating." Daniel looked toward the window. 3 months earlier, Emily had warned him. He picked up his phone. "Find her." His assistant entered the office. "Find who?" "Emily Carter." "We already checked her employment records." "Find her anyway." 2 hours later, the assistant returned. "We found her." "Where?" "She hasn't taken another job." Daniel frowned. "Then what is she doing?" "She runs a small consulting firm." "Where?" The assistant placed a business card on the desk. Daniel stared at it. "Carter Strategic Investigations." He immediately drove there. Emily opened the door. The moment she saw him, she smiled. "Mr. Reed." Daniel looked uncomfortable. "You were right." "I know." He blinked. "You knew?" "You came here." "I need your help." Emily stepped aside. "Come in." Her office was small. Nothing like Reed Industries. But the walls were covered with charts, documents, photographs, and financial records. Daniel looked around. "You've been investigating my company." Emily didn't deny it. "For 3 months." "Why?" "Because someone is stealing from you." "We know that." "No," she looked at him. "You know money is missing." Daniel frowned. "I've been trying to find out who." Emily walked to a whiteboard. 3 names were written across it. Blackstone Holdings. Thomas Reed. Daniel Reed. Daniel stared at the second name. "Thomas is my brother." "I know. He's been with the company for 15 years. And he has access to every financial system." Daniel shook his head. "My brother wouldn't steal from me." Emily pointed at the board. "Then explain this." She showed him several transfers. Every payment had been approved through a system linked to Thomas's office. Daniel studied the records. "This could be forged." "That's what I thought." She handed him another folder. Inside were photographs. Thomas meeting men from Blackstone Holdings. Daniel's expression changed. Where did you get these? From a private investigator. You've been following my brother? Yes. Why? Because your father hired me. Daniel froze. My father? Before he died. Daniel slowly sat down. My father has been dead for 8 years. I know. Then how could he hire you? Emily placed an old envelope on the table. Daniel recognized the handwriting immediately. His father's. He opened it. Inside was a short letter. Emily, if you're reading this, something has happened to me. Don't trust Thomas. Daniel stared at the words. His father had suspected his own son. What did my father know? Emily sat across from him. He knew money was disappearing from the company. Did he know who was responsible? I don't know. Then why did he hire you? He wanted me to find out. Daniel looked at the letter again. Why didn't you tell me this when you joined the company? Because I didn't trust you. Daniel looked up. Why? Because your father didn't trust you either. The words hit him hard. My father thought I was involved? No, Emily lowered her voice. He thought someone was using you. Who? Thomas. Daniel stood. This is impossible. Emily opened another file. Inside was a photograph. Daniel's father was standing beside Thomas. Behind them was a safe. Daniel recognized it. It had been in his father's private office. What is that? Your father's safe. It was destroyed after he died. No, Emily looked at him. It wasn't destroyed. Then where is it? She pointed to the photograph. Behind the wall in your current office. Daniel's heart started pounding. They returned to Reed Industries after dark. Daniel unlocked his office. Emily examined the wall. She found a hidden panel behind a painting. Inside was the safe. Daniel stared at it. How did you know? My father taught me how to look for hidden things. Daniel entered the combination. The safe opened. Inside were several folders. A passport. A flash drive. And one photograph. Daniel picked it up. His father was standing beside a young woman. Emily saw the photograph. Her face changed. Who is she? Daniel turned it over. There was a date. 2 days before your father died. Underneath, someone had written, "She knows what happened." Emily stared at the photograph. Daniel, what? I know her. He looked at her. Who is she? Emily swallowed. She was my mother. Daniel froze. What? My mother disappeared 20 years ago. She picked up the photograph. I've been looking for her my entire life. Daniel looked at the picture again. His father's final secret wasn't about money. It was about Emily's missing mother. Then the office lights suddenly went out. Emily grabbed Daniel's arm. Someone was moving outside the office. A shadow passed beneath the door. Daniel whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. Then the door handle slowly moved. Emily pulled him away. The door opened. Nobody was there. But a small envelope had been placed on the floor. Daniel picked it up. His name was written on the front. Inside was a single photograph. It showed his father, Emily's mother, and Thomas standing together. On the back was a message, "Your father didn't die because of the money." Daniel turned the photograph over. A second sentence had been written underneath. "He died because he discovered who your mother really was." Emily stared at the photograph. Then her phone rang. She answered. Nobody spoke. After several seconds, a man's voice whispered, "Tell Daniel the truth." Emily's face went pale. "What truth?" The voice replied, "His father was murdered by the woman you're looking for." The call ended. Emily slowly lowered the phone. Daniel looked at her. "Who was that?" She didn't answer. Then she whispered, "I think we just found the person who killed your father. I think we just found the person who killed your father." Emily's words hung in the dark office. Daniel stared at her. "My father was murdered?" She nodded slowly. "I didn't know for certain until tonight." "You said your mother disappeared 20 years ago." "Yes. And now you think she's connected to my father's death?" "I don't know what to think." Daniel looked at the photograph again. His father, Thomas, and Emily's mother, all standing together. There was something about the picture that bothered him. Where was this taken? Emily examined the background. Somewhere outside the city. Daniel pointed at a building behind them. "Wait. What? That sign." He zoomed in on the photograph. A faded logo was visible above the door. Redwood Research Center. Daniel recognized it immediately. "My father owned that building." Emily looked at him. "Are you sure?" "Yes. It was sold after he died." "Who bought it?" Daniel pulled out his phone and searched the company's old property records. His expression changed. "Thomas." Emily stared at him. "Your brother?" Daniel nodded. "He bought it 6 months after Dad died." They looked at each other. For the first time, neither of them tried to defend Thomas. They drove to the building before sunrise. The place had been abandoned for years. Broken windows covered the first floor. The main entrance was chained shut. Daniel found another entrance around the back. Inside, dust covered everything. Emily turned on her flashlight. "Where do we start?" "My father's office." They searched the second floor. The office was almost empty. Then Emily noticed a loose floorboard. She pulled it up. Underneath was a metal box. Daniel opened it. Inside was a cassette recorder and several handwritten pages. He pressed play. His father's voice filled the room. "If you're hearing this, Thomas has probably already found the safe." Daniel closed his eyes. His father's voice continued. "I trusted my brother because he was family." There was a pause. "But family can be the easiest person to betray you." Emily looked at Daniel. The recording continued. "Thomas wasn't stealing money." Daniel frowned. "What?" His father explained that the missing funds were being used to finance something far more dangerous. A private network that bought confidential information from companies. The money was only the beginning. Thomas had been selling corporate secrets. But there was another name. Laura Carter. Emily's mother. Daniel looked at her. "Your mother was involved?" Emily shook her head. "She would never do that." The recording continued. Laura discovered what Thomas was doing. Daniel's father sounded frightened. She threatened to expose him. Then the recording became distorted. Daniel hit the recorder. "Come on." The audio returned. "I tried to protect Laura." Daniel's father whispered, "But Thomas found out." Then came a sentence that changed everything. "He didn't kill Laura." Daniel looked at Emily. "He kidnapped her." Emily covered her mouth. Her mother was alive. Or at least she had been. The recording continued. "I hid Laura because Thomas was looking for her." Daniel's father took a breath. "If anything happens to me, Emily must never know where her mother is." Emily began crying. "Why would he hide that from me?" Daniel didn't answer. The final part of the recording was almost impossible to hear. But one sentence came through clearly. Laura knows who really ordered the murder. The recording stopped. Daniel stared at the machine. Ordered the murder? Emily wiped her eyes. Then Thomas didn't act alone. Suddenly, headlights appeared outside. A vehicle stopped near the building. Emily turned off her flashlight. Someone followed us. They moved toward the back exit. A door slammed upstairs. Footsteps approached. Daniel whispered, "There's another way out." They ran down a narrow hallway. A man shouted behind them. "Daniel!" Daniel recognized the voice. Thomas. They reached a storage room and locked the door. Emily looked around. There has to be another exit. Daniel noticed an old ventilation opening. Here. They climbed through. The passage led into an alley behind the building. They escaped just as Thomas and two men came out the back door. Daniel and Emily hid behind a parked truck. Thomas looked around. "Find them." The men spread out. Daniel held his breath. After several minutes, the vehicles finally left. They returned to Daniel's house. Neither spoke during the drive. Once inside, Emily placed the photograph on the table. "There has to be more." Daniel nodded. "My father wouldn't leave only one recording." They searched everything they had. Then Emily noticed something. The back of the photograph had been folded. She carefully opened it. A tiny address was written inside. 17 Willow Lane. Daniel recognized it. My father had a cabin there. They drove there the next morning. The cabin looked abandoned. But the front door wasn't locked. Inside, everything was covered in dust. Daniel found his father's desk. A locked drawer sat beneath it. He tried several keys. Nothing worked. Then Emily noticed a small engraving on the desk. E.C. Emily Carter. She looked at him. "Why would my initials be on your father's desk?" Daniel suddenly remembered the letter. His father had written that Emily was the person he trusted most. "Try the key from your necklace." Emily touched the small pendant around her neck. She had worn it since childhood. She removed it. Inside the pendant was a tiny key. It fit. The drawer opened. Inside was a file. The first page contained one name, Thomas Reed. The second page contained another. Richard Vale. Daniel recognized the second name from the earlier stories his father had told him about his business. But the third name was the one that made Emily stop breathing. Laura Carter. Below it was a handwritten note. Laura was never a victim. Emily stared at the words. No, Daniel kept reading. She knew the plan from the beginning. What plan? The next page explained everything. Years earlier, Thomas and Laura had created a secret financial operation together. Daniel's father discovered it. He threatened to expose them. Laura convinced him she wanted to help. Instead, she betrayed him. Thomas arranged the murder. Laura disappeared afterward. Emily stepped away from the desk. My mother, Daniel looked at her. She knew. Emily shook her head. I don't believe this. A sound came from outside. A car door closing. Daniel turned off the lights. They looked through the window. A woman stood outside. Older. Gray hair. But Emily recognized her immediately. Mom. Laura looked directly at the cabin. She raised one hand. In it was a photograph. Then she pointed toward the door. Emily started crying. I need to talk to her. Daniel grabbed her arm. Wait. Laura shouted from outside, Emily. Emily opened the door. Laura stepped inside. For several seconds, mother and daughter simply stared at each other. Then Emily whispered, "Why?" Laura's eyes filled with tears. "Because I was afraid." "Afraid of Thomas?" "No, then who?" Laura looked at Daniel. "Your father." Daniel froze. "My father?" He knew what I had done. "What did you do?" Laura looked at Emily. "I betrayed him." Emily began crying. "You helped kill him?" "No," Laura shook her head. "I tried to stop it." "Then why did you disappear?" "Because Thomas threatened you." She looked at Daniel. "He told me that if I went to the police, he would kill my daughter." Daniel stared at her. "But the recording says you knew about the murder." "I knew Thomas was planning something." "Why didn't you stop him?" "I tried." Laura reached into her coat. She pulled out a small envelope. "This is the proof." Daniel took it. Inside was a photograph. Thomas was standing beside another man. The other man was Daniel's current chief financial officer. Daniel stared at the picture. "This was taken last month." Emily looked at him. "They're still working together." Laura nodded. "And there's one more person." "Who?" Laura looked at Daniel. "Your CEO's biggest investor." Daniel's blood ran cold. "The investor who demanded I fire Emily?" Laura nodded. "He isn't an investor." "Then who is he?" Laura whispered, "He is the man who ordered your father's murder." Suddenly, the cabin windows shattered. Everyone dropped to the floor. A gunshot tore through the wall. Laura shouted, "Run!" Daniel grabbed Emily. They escaped through the back door. Another shot rang out. They reached the trees. Behind them, someone shouted, "Don't let Daniel get away." They kept running until they reached the road. A black SUV was waiting. The door opened. A man stepped out. Daniel recognized him immediately. It was Reed Industries' biggest investor. The man smiled. "You finally found the truth." Daniel stared at him. "You killed my father." The man shook his head. "No," he looked at Laura. "She did." Laura froze. Daniel turned toward her. The investor continued, "Your father discovered the truth about Laura." Emily looked at her mother. "Mom?" Laura's face went pale. The investor smiled. "Ask her what happened the night your father died." Daniel stepped closer. "Tell me." Laura began crying. "I didn't kill him." "Then who did?" She looked directly at Daniel. And whispered, "You did." Daniel froze. "I was 8 years old." Laura shook her head. "You were there." Emily stared at her mother. "What are you saying?" Laura looked at Daniel. "Your father wasn't killed by a gunshot." She pointed toward the old cabin. "He was poisoned." Daniel's blood ran cold. "The person who gave him the poison," Laura's voice broke, "was you."